Hello, this is Wes Bridle, and this is another Kingdom Calling Economic Update video. This is part 2 on the economic outlook and stock market thoughts. And so just jumping in, Sysco, the big food maker, warned that they're not getting paid by the state and local governments. It's a huge part of our economy. I think it's over 10% of our economy are these governments that aren't the U.S. government, the state and local government. And the problem is they have borrowed way more money. They just can't pay their bills, and so that's hurting Sysco because they provide food to a lot of people. And that, if you think about it, what that's going to do to our economy, if 10% is contracting, that puts a huge dent in our economy. There's a Bloomberg poll that revealed that not one strategist they polled believes or is bearish for 2011. So everyone is bullish, everyone thinks things are going to go good. That's usually right about the time when things fall apart. U.S. banks are owed $350 billion by the what's called the PIGS countries: Portugal, Ireland, Italy, Greece, Spain. The Bank of International Settlements put out a note, and $350 billion. So when you see these problems going on in Europe, you're going to see more and more of that this year. It's a problem for us too, and that's why you see the U.S. getting so involved, because our banks could well go under because of the problems over there. It's also why countries like Germany keep trying to bail out these other countries, because their banks are even more heavily involved than ours are. Moving to employment and unemployment. Full-time employment is steadily going down. Part-time employment is steadily going up. So sometimes you see employment numbers that seem good. What you're actually seeing is a lot of people who are working part-time jobs who don't want to be, but it counts as a job. Retail investors are continually pulling money out of the stock market. Zero Hedge talks about this a lot. Continually, week after week after week, the small investors pulling money out of the stock market. If it were any sort of a normal market, that would mean the stock market would be going down. However, you have the big banks and the government who have a tremendous amount of money, and things keep going up. But I would think, unless the big banks have some sort of behind-the-scenes agreement with the government, they could just as easily pull money out and go short, which would make a huge whiplash in that market. Let's see, Mark Holbert, who he looks at all the financial newsletters that are out there. Made the comment that sentiment is disturbingly high. Ned Davis said there's excessive bullishness out there. Everyone is giddy, thinking the market can only go up. That's usually right about the time that the market tops out. Margin debt right now is the highest it's been since September of 2008. So you know what happened right after that. That's what happens around a market top. There's part 1, we mentioned some other things like insider activity. All these things are reaching excessive extremes where usually we see a hard market fall after it, and that's where we are right now. It's hard to see. I keep looking at it every day, and there's needs to be a trigger. So I don't know what the trigger is or when that happens, but that's where we sit right now. World food prices already at an all-time high. I don't know where to fit this in, but I thought I would comment on it. I saw an article about the strange animal deaths that are going on all around the world. There's hundreds in some cases, thousands in other cases of animals just dead. I don't know what it is. I thought I would point that out. It's just a strange phenomenon. The scientists have no idea why this is happening, but they're just mass animal deaths all around the world right now. Moving to Spain, I've been reading a lot about Europe because their situation is similar and we're all related. Spanish banks just got crazy lending to all these real estate developers, and they built these ghost towns. So much as China has ghost towns, Spain has these ghost towns where no one lives, and there's just rows and rows of houses. They're now being pillaged by thieves and stuff, stealing the copper and whatever else they can grab and pull away. So the banks are holding a bunch of junk. However, 98% of borrowers in Spain, in Europe, they don't have the 30-year fixed. That's a government rig thing that we have here. They don't have that in Europe. And so 98% of the borrowers in Spain have variable rate loans. Well, interest rates around the world are heading higher, and so that's a really bad thing for the Spanish people, which is a bad thing for the Spanish banks, which is a bad thing for the economy and for all of Europe and America. I mean, we're all interrelated at this point. If Spain goes down, we've seen already Greece and Ireland go down, but those are really tiny countries compared to Spain. Spain goes down, it takes down all of Europe with it. And so that's why I've just brought up a little more description of exactly what's going on in Spain. So their employment numbers came out last week. There's a big surge with ADP's numbers. So ADP is a company that does payroll, and they show 300,000 jobs increased. But they're historically really bad. Their numbers aren't very indicative in December. Gallup poll at the same time found that more people were unemployed in December. Well, then the government's number, the BLS number, came out, and they showed a much bigger increase in the number who want jobs, 380,000, versus the number who are newly employed, 103,000. The number you hear in the media is 103,000, and there's cheering and everything's wonderful and our economy's back on track. Look at 103,000 new jobs in December. That's amazing. What you don't really hear is that 380,000 new people want jobs. The official unemployment number ticked down a little bit, but it wasn't because of all the new jobs. It was because of all the people who stopped looking for work. So we're hearing a one-sided story from our media, but there's certainly some good things. It's better to have 103,000 jobs than 50,000 jobs, which we were often seeing before that. But that's still not enough to even budge us into positive job growth, because we always have new people who are being born, who are turning 18, looking for jobs, and we still don't have any numbers that are impressive at all there. David Rosenberg points out, this is pretty interesting, 134 out of the 143 points of the S&P 500's growth in 2010 occurred on the first day of the month. Sound like something's being rigged there? That's interesting. It's almost all the growth of the past 12 months happened only on the first day of each month. And I believe 2011 might have started that way as well. Illinois dramatically increased income taxes. The governor had to flee the Capitol building. I just saw a blurb on that. I didn't read too much about it, but it's a good sign when our government officials are having to flee through the basement. Banks repossessed 1 million homes last year, and 2011 is going to be a lot worse according to RealtyTrack, who tracks these things. There are 5 million borrowers in the United States behind on their payments. So there's some ugliness coming to the U.S. real estate market, even more so than what we've seen so far. That's a huge segment of our economy. Things are not nearly as rosy as you're hearing right now. I don't know how long it takes for the dominoes to start falling again, but there's still some trouble out there. So if you haven't seen the Coming Storm economic video that we put together, there's a link to watch that for free. We talked about all these things a year ago. It's still very relevant. You'll see a lot of what we talked about has actually happened. I think I might put a video detailing that together. But we also talked about bigger picture things that haven't happened yet that are going to be the real life changers. It's important that you check that out and are prepared for your family. Thanks for watching, and God bless you.